Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go!
So a bit of context. Where I live, you can't buy knives or lighters until you're officially 18 if you try. The cash register will shut down until a manager types in a password, at least in the store. This happened and that happens. Basically, the machine will scan whatever ID, and if it's not valid, or even says that the person is a day younger than 18, it pops up a invalid ID. Enter password to return to checkout. And in the case, this happens when no manager is there, which is rare. The staff are kind of stuck one register down until one arrives. Now I'm a regular there, so the employees know me by name, and I'm 18. I don't look it though. Also, the way this store is set up, you walk in the door and turn left into the store. The checkout line is blocked off by racks, so if someone is blocking the path, it's hard to get through the store and back out the door. This was never really an issue. Well, not usually. Sometimes a big cart was in the way, but the people would usually be polite and say something like, "I'm almost done. I'm sorry for this." There's two registers in the store, one behind the other. Now on to the entitlement. So I just finished shopping for dinner, got some spaghetti stuff and some lighters for my incense. I also had a small black pocket knife being held for me. I got in line behind this kid who looks to be 16 or 17 and was waiting patiently. This kid gets to the register and plops up a pocket knife and some lighters. I just wait my turn. The lady at the till, who we'll call Ally, scans his items. Then he hands his ID. Apparently, he was only a few days from turning 18. The interaction that followed went something like this. The kid we'll call Dummy. Allie, will this be all? Dummy, yeah. Allie looks at ID. Can you verify your age? Dummy, I'm old enough, just scan the items. Allie starts to explain that the ID states he's too young. Dummy, my birthday's tomorrow. Just sell the stuff and do your job. Allie shrugs and scans the items, then the ID. Machine flashes up the box. The manager was on break and so was not in store. Allie, I'm sorry. I tried to tell you it wouldn't let you through. Dummy, I'm not leaving without my items. At this point, I'd been there an extra 10 minutes longer than I had wanted. Ollie calls over her equally awesome coworker who opened register 2 and waved me over. Me and coworkers start chatting as I'm getting my things scanned, and in enters entitled Mom. This was what really happened. Entitled Mother. Honey, we gotta go. Have you paid yet? Dummy, no, she's not letting me pay. Allie, your ID has locked the register. I can't activate any of the functions to allow you to pay. Dummy, she's lying. Entitled Mother. How dare you hold up my precious son? He's old enough, let him pay. Allie, still standing firm. Look, ma'am, I can't open any of the functions until a manager arrives. Entitled Mother. Well then get them, she hisses out. I want to get you fired. Allie, she's on break, you're free to wait. Dummy, Mom, I want my presents. Allie, you're too young, I can't sell these to you. Entitled Mother. No, he's not. Stop lying. Here, just scan my ID. Allie, now looking fed up. That isn't how the system works. At this point, I feel I'm getting stupider by witnessing this. I now put up my lighters and ask if they still have the knife. They say yes and pull out a tiny multi-tool pocket knife from behind the counter and scan it. I hand them my ID. Coworker. Okay. Op, will this be all, or do you need new headphones again? Jokingly says this, it's a inside joke. Me. Yeah, I'm fine. Coworker. Scans my ID, non-drivers, and I pay. Entitled Mother takes notice of this and screeches out, screaming. That girl looks to be the same age as my son. Allie. No, she's not. She's Entitled Mother. Cuts her off. She must have a fake ID. She must. Allie. Ma'am, I can assure you it's not fake. Allie took me to get it after her shift a few weeks prior. Dummy. Walks over to me and holds his hand out. Me. Looks confused and try to walk away, in which D blocks me. Dummy. My ID doesn't work. Gimme yours. Me. Taken aback. No, and as she said, the machine doesn't work like that. Entitled Mother. Great idea, honey. Looks at me. Hand it over. Me. Again, no. Allie. Mom, please stop harassing OP. She has done nothing wrong. Coworker. And can you move your block in the line? Entitled Mother. 1 sec. She reaches for my ID. Miss, I will warn you not to touch me. Now, more context, I am military trained and have a ridiculous amount of strength due to a birth defect entitled Mother. Oh, don't be a witch. Me. If you touch me, you will be restrained. I was in full view of the camera and said this very loudly so people could hear as to cover my butt. Entitled Mother. Rolls her eyes and grabs the arm my wallet's on. Allie. Already on the phone with police. Me. Grabs her wrist and restrains her. I did not hurt her, just took her wrist and held it behind her back, pushing her down. She was quite small, so this was the best thing to do as to not hurt her. I'm not a violent person, so this was keeping things from escalating. Dummy. Seems to be terrified and unsure what happened. Entitled Mother. Screaming profanities. The police showed up and I let go once they did, as I didn't want to seem to be the aggressor. Entitled Mother. Starts making up some wild tale about how the employees weren't cooperative and how I had attacked her. Allie. That's not what happened, sir. Coworker. I can take one of you back to the CCTV footage. Officer 1. Fine. Officer 2. Get statement. Officer 2. Gets everyone's statements. Me. Tells the truth and explains I did warn her. Entitled Mother. Makes up her own twisted version. Allie. Matches my statement. Officer 1 and the coworker come back to the front. Officer 1. You're coming with me, Mom. Would you like to press charges? Entitled Mother. Yes, I would. Officer 1. Cuff her. Officer 2 cuffs entitled Mother. Officer 1. Mom, do you want to press assault charges? Me. Yeah, she dug her nails into my wrist. Entitled Mother acting shocked and screaming about rights. Officer 2 smiles and proceeds to read off rights. They left and everyone who had to wait in line got a free item under 5. We'll update if something crazy happens at Entitled Mother's hearing. Update. At the hearing, the Entitled Mother broke down in tears and pulled the insanity card, which, after, she had to get a wellness checkup. She is now in an inpatient hospital, and I had to get a restraining order against her husband. He came banging on my door and verbally berated me for 30 minutes. Once done, I calmly told him to get off my lawn. He banged on my door more, actually cracking it, old house. And now I'm pressing charges for damage of private property. These people, honestly, if the Entitled Mother didn't pull insanity, this could have gone for a year or more. This happened a few months ago, but it is still just baffling to me. I live in a 20-story high-rise with around 15-ish units on each floor, so a pretty big building. I also live in a major city that, like many others, is in the middle of a housing crisis. So this place is packed to the gills with people and there is super high traffic and common owners on a good day. We're also right downtown, so rent is absolutely astronomical here on top of everything. I came out of my apartment one day and heard someone shout over to me from the elevator area. I looked up to see who it was and didn't recognize the person, so I figured she must be a new tenant that moved in recently. I asked how I could help, and the woman motions to the opposite end of the hall and said something along the lines of, "Hey, can you please make sure my cats don't get into your apartment or the elevator?" I looked down the hall and saw 2 super cute orange cats who looked pretty young, maybe less than a year old, hanging out in the hallway. I immediately assumed, like any normal person would, that they must have made a run for it when the door was open, as can happen with pets sometimes in any building, and she was just in the process of corralling them back into her unit. Of course, I agreed. Gave the little guys some quick pets. I asked if that was okay first. After I locked my door and went over to the elevator to leave, when I got a bit closer, I noticed the woman was taping a sign up above the elevator button saying, "Please do not let the orange cats onto the elevator," so I made a comment about how my pets can be cheeky little escape artists too sometimes, but we gotta love them. She then said something that confused the hell out of me. Oh no, they didn't escape. I just live in one of the smaller units and they seem to be getting bored inside my apartment, so I'm just gonna prop my door open whenever I'm home and let them hang out and explore out here. They're really cute. Everyone will love them. I'm just putting the sign up to make sure nobody lets them into the elevator. As long as people just shoo them out of the elevator, it will be fine. I'm standing there, silent, trying to process if what I heard was correct, because who in their right mind would think they can just let their 2 cats casually hang out in a high-traffic apartment hallway, in a dog-friendly building no less, every day? Not to mention the fact that we live in one of the most high-crime cities in my country, and she's cool just chilling all day with her door propped wide open. She must have noticed the confused look on my face and added, "Don't worry, this sign I made here is only temporary. I'm just going to ask building management to print up a proper one with the building's letterhead. I'm sure they won't mind. The property manager is so nice." At this point, I'm still at a loss and decide not to engage. So I just smile and nod and wish her a good day, hoping this chaos will sort itself out. Don't get me wrong, I love cats. Even though I'm allergic, I have 2 of my own, and they're my babies. If it were up to me, I would be surrounded by cats at all times, But it would never for 1 second occur to me that it would just be okay to expect literally dozens of strangers to suddenly be responsible for my unsupervised pets all day, every day, because they are too bored at my house. Putting aside for the moment that not everyone is okay with having animals around and some people are allergic, the safety issues of every other apartment in this place having a dog, and the fact that 2 near kittens could very easily disappear into an apartment, elevator, or stairwell at any given moment in a place where there are no hallway security cameras sounds like a recipe for an absolute disaster. This woman was 100% truly convinced that our large corporate property management company would have 0 issues with this, to the point that they would be setting up official paperwork to inform all of us that these pets are now the entire floor's responsibility. She was telling me all this so casually you would think she was talking about the weather. The handwritten sign was gone by the time I got home that day, and I have never seen or heard from that woman or her cats ever again, so I have absolutely no idea what happened. But I can only imagine that when she did call the property management company, she got laughed the hell out of there. I wish I would have been there to see management's reaction. This happened a few years back. My dad found out he was super allergic to some kind of shrub in central Texas, Fort Hood, after he was transferred there. As a result, he was restricted to office work and prohibited by Army doctors from outdoor duties. His West Point grad commanding officer was a hyper-warrior kind of dude who detested soldiers who didn't want to train 24/7. Unfortunately, he thought my dad was milking his allergies in order to avoid being a real soldier. My dad was also married and my mom was pregnant with my older sister, a situation that infuriated the captain because, reasons. The captain never, ever passed an opportunity to humiliate my dad by questioning his manhood, doubting his commitment to protecting the Constitution, disparaging his duties, etc. The captain would call him out in front of the company or debase him in front of higher AQ staff. He'd call the house at 6 a.m. on Sunday and order Dad in for nonsense, reasons, anything to piss him off. In short, he made his life a living hell. For what it's worth, the first sergeant loved my dad's work performance and said so privately. When my dad got orders to leave active duty, which enraged the captain, he found out that the captain received orders for an assignment that was a notch needed to guarantee promotions as well as other plum jobs. Dad decided to mess with his official records before leaving. As company clerk, he had full access to unit personnel files, orders, etc., which meant he also had keys to the building as well. This was during the pre-digital, pre-computer era. The night before my dad was to get out, he took all of the captain's personnel folders and mailed them separately and anonymously to various posts around the globe, knowing full well it would take weeks to deliver them to geographically unrelated unit mailrooms around the world that may or may not open the packages in order to return them. It just so happened that the unit was in the field for a 2-week exercise on the day my dad left, which meant a skeleton crew would man the phones and mow lawns until they returned from the field. No one was the wiser for weeks. One of my dad's old poker-playing sergeant buds wrote a few months later telling him that the captain went ballistic, that the missing files seriously damaged the face of a captain's career prospects since some of the files were lost in the system. Therefore, the coveted assignment orders were canceled and the entire personnel record had to be reconstructed manually by the Department of the Army. My dad said it was a teaching moment for the cruel jerk that you should never mess with your unit clerk because even chairborne rangers know how to seriously wound enemies, foreign and domestic. When I was about 9 or 10 and a real piece of work, I spent a lot of time in the park around the block where I lived. You know, 80s kids and spending time outside, all that. In the ground floor of the building I lived in was a large room you could rent for parties, club meets, mostly anything, was pretty well used, and it wasn't uncommon for it to be used until late at night on the weekend. One sunny Saturday, I was playing with my friends when we noticed that all the curtains were closed and loud music was coming from the aforementioned room. Seemed like a party, and parties are awesome. So we knocked on the door and politely asked if we could come in. The response we got from a snotty 16-ish-year-old jerk was something along the lines of "Get lost, you little jerks." Needless to say, this pissed us off to no end. If he had said, for example, "Sorry, you're too young," or "Club meeting, sorry," no problem. But this, nope. So we started collecting ideas on how to get even. I really can't remember what my friends came up with, but I remember at some point I saw an enormous dog turd lying in the lawn and inspiration struck. I got 2 small twigs and a handkerchief and started to scoop said turd up, using the twigs like chopsticks. My friends went pale when they saw what I was up to. As soon as I had the dookie of doom safely on the tissue, I went straight to the one window that was open just a crack. That was the moment the first friend bolted. Trying my damnedest not to laugh and give myself away, I tossed old Brown through the crack. However, instead of the expected plop, I was rewarded with a splash. That was when the second guy ran for the hill. Cowering beneath the window, I tried to figure out where the damn thing landed. Realization dawned as soon as I heard a girl screaming. Seems like she took a big scoop from the punch bowl and got way more than she asked for. Only 2 of us left. Everyone else hightailed it. As the music suddenly stopped and a mix of gasps, retching, and words along the lines of "I'm gonna kill" were heard, I really shouldn't have laughed. Well, and that was the moment I looked the last remaining friend in the eye, and we both decided that it was time to disappear. I remember running as fast as my legs carried me, all with the biggest grin ever.
And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.